On Global TV News Express, federal government to ban Naira from crypto trading platforms. Police deploys 30 motorcycles and personnel to rural communities. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited cautions against panic buying. In sports, Chelsea's chances boosted after Man United's horror at Palace. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. As part of activities to mark the National Nurses Week, the Abuja chapter of National Association of Nurses and Midwives has submitted a letter of complaint against the closure of nursing verification portal by the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. Samalodi has details.
The nurses who marched from the Federal Secretariat to the House of Representatives complained that the verification portal had been shut down since November 2023 by the Council. They called on the House of Representatives to come to the aid of nurses and appealed to the Nursing and Midwife Council of Nigeria to reopen the verification portal without conditions.
The portal was closed down in November. And we were waiting for a reopening, maybe with a better verification rules. But when they reopened, they came up with a verification guideline that does not go well with any nurse. That a nurse will have to study, train, or practice 2 years after education before you can qualify to be verified. Then that the verification that is supposed to take maximum 24 hours is going to take 6 months to a year. Okay? Then another thing, we will need to get a letter of good standing. I keep saying it. A letter of good standing is for job referencing. For crying out loud, they licensed us. The people that are asking for verification are not asking for if this person is working well.
We want good working environment for nurses. Nurses should not be relegated. They should be able to do whatever they want to do. They should not cage us. We are human beings. We have our fundamental human rights. So that is why we are here today to tell them that we don't want to be suffering in silence and keep on working. We are not comfortable. The country is no longer comfortable for us.
That nurses are the backbone of the healthcare system, and the backbone of the healthcare system should be properly taken care of. A king should be treated as a king, not as a slave. Our salary is nothing to write home about, so we need increment in our salaries as well. And then the verification rules should be reversed. It should be reversed with immediate effect. And
the Chairman Health Committee, Honorable Amos Magaji, assured the nurses that he will invite the members of the Nursing and Midwife Council of Nigeria for a meeting and their complaint will be addressed.
Many of the nurses that are in locum right now will be absorbed into permanent employment. But there is a process. So you guys need to exercise patience and see that that is done. And I'm assuring you, I've sat with the Minister of Health and he's doing wonderfully well in issues regarding health of Nigerians. And then the various committee of health in National Assembly and of course the Senate, every registered nurse and medical professional is gainfully employed in Nigeria.
Samuel Udi reporting for Global Television.
Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Adejoke Orelokpe Adefulire, has called for considerable attention to the welfare and development of senior citizens across the country. He made this appeal during a strategic partnership meeting with a delegation from the National Senior Citizens Center, led by the Director General Omokaro. Orelokpe Adefulire, the call for greater attention to citizens comes amid growing concerns over issues such as access to healthcare, social inclusion, and economic support for the elderly, which have been exacerbated by various socio-economic factors. In a bid to achieve the zero malaria target in Nigeria, the federal government has emphasized the need to move from idealism to pragmatism. The The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Mohammed Ali Pati, stated this at the Ministerial Roundtable meeting on rethinking malaria elimination in Nigeria held in Abuja. The meeting was aimed at providing stakeholders the opportunity to access the current malaria situation in Nigeria, evaluate the effectiveness of the existing tools in addressing the malaria scourge, and for factors facilitating or mitigating the progress towards the elimination of malaria in Nigeria. Adamawa State government has closed down public and private schools following the outbreak of measles in the state. The closure notice was contained in a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Human Capital Development, Aisha Umar in Yola. Umar said the closure was to mitigate the spread of the disease and to enable the state's primary healthcare development agency to vaccinate the vulnerable age group. The ministry therefore announced Monday, May 13, 2024 as a new resumption date for the school. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has released a comprehensive strategy to help states and stakeholders better brace for the impact of flooding caused by the rainy season. The agency made the presentation today during its two-day expert meeting with stakeholders in Abuja. Sharna J has details.
The strategy on climate-related disaster preparedness and mitigation is a vital aspect of the 2024 seasonal climate prediction by Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, and annual flood outlook of Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. The Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Zubaida Umar, emphasized the need for all emergency agencies to hold various meetings to further prepare adequately to ward off implications of environmental adverse phenomena.
For all relevant stakeholders to live up to their responsibilities so as to prevent loss of lives and properties that may occur due to the predicted climate-related disasters in 2024. To this end, various emergency sectors, including food security, water sanitation and hygiene, health, nutrition, education, protection, information, emergency shelter and non-food items, camp coordination and camp management, security information and logistics are required to be holding coordination meetings. In the front burner should be preparedness and mitigation measures to be able to effectively respond to adverse climate-related situations that may arise this year.
Director General says the preparedness of the early warning by NIMET and the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency is to save spaces, materials, and preparedness for prompt response.
Is to be backed by early action so as to mitigate the impact of possible disasters.
Commenting on the movement of displaced persons living in flood-prone areas, the Director General of NEMA, Zubaida Umar, commended state government for measures they have put in place to identify grounds where people can be moved with all basic amenities in a bid to avoid any risks posed by flooding. Sharna J reporting for Global TV News.
The coalition of Niger Delta ex-agitators for good governance has countered the appointment of the Administrative Presidential Amnesty Program, Dennis Otuari, at a World Press briefing in Abuja. The group said the announcement was not in favor of Ijaw Nation and Niger Delta at large. Samuel Ode has more.
The appointment of Administrator Presidential Amnesty Program Dennis Otuari has created a lot of controversy among various groups in the Niger Delta region. The group says the administrator appointment is detrimental to the Ijaw Nation as well as the Niger Delta region.
His appointment is not in the interest of the entire Ijaw Nation and Niger Delta at large due to the following reasons. Number one, his appointment was influenced by an avaricious interest who subverted the struggle as his personal entity at the detriment of the entire Ijaw Nation and Niger Delta at large. Two, the Ijaw Nation is currently enslaved as a result of one personal desperate attempt to seize or to seize everything for himself.
The group therefore appealed to the federal government to intervene and ensure that one man's political intrigues does not dominate the entire Niger Delta region. Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television.
The Federal Capital Territory Commissioner of Police, Bennett Igwe, has commenced the deployment of motorcycles and personnel across the rural areas in the Federal Capital Territory to aid security response operations and efforts against banditry. Igwe says it is the command's continuous support and responsiveness to the security and safety of residents, especially those in the rural communities of the nation's capital, where bandits and kidnappers have recently turned to hideouts. The Commissioner of Police says deployment of the motorcycles painted police colors is made to aid swift operational response to communities and areas where vehicles may not easily access or navigate when the need arises. You're watching News Express, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on our social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Express returns, FG to ban Naira from crypto trading platforms. This and other stories coming right after this break. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, if you've just joined us, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the News Express. On the foreign scene, Britain's ruling Conservatives braced for further losses in local elections. Their worst results in recent memory and a key test before general election to be held by January. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's party lost nearly 500 councillors and control of 12 councils, as well as a parliamentary seat after voting Thursday across a swathe of England saw Labour opposition make huge gains. The beleaguered Tory leader faces more likely defeats when results of crunch mayoral races in London, Liverpool and Manchester announced Saturday, but is hoping to retain West Midlands. Israel's military has called for the evacuation of over the Islamist group's demands to end the 7th-month war during weekend talks in Cairo. Consultations between two other mediators, the United States and Qatar, were expected on Monday in Doha, but state-linked media in Egypt said negotiations had stalled after a rocket strike killed 4 Israeli soldiers on Sunday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to send ground troops in against Hamas fighters in Rafah, regardless of any truce, and despite concerns from the United States, other countries, and aid groups. Truce talks were expected to resume in Egypt, aimed at halting months of war in Gaza between Hamas militants and Israel that have triggered widening protests around the world. Mediators from Qatar, Egypt and the United States have been waiting for the Palestinian Islamist movement to respond to a proposal that, according to details released by Britain, would halt fighting for 40 days and exchange hostages for Palestinian prisoners. Months of negotiations stalled in part of Hamas's demand for a lasting ceasefire and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's repeated vows to crush the group's remaining fighters in Rafah, along the Egyptian border in Gaza's far south. In business, Nigerians have expressed mixed feelings over power supply by distribution companies despite hike of electricity tariff. They say the situation has become worrisome and unbearable amid the economic situations in the country. Edika Michael has the report.
Like a stubborn helmet that has continued to defy treatment, the Nigerian power sector, which has undergone different level of diagnosis and treatment, appears to be resistant to the adverse of intervention from the public and private sector since the Nigeria attained its independence in 1960. Whatever the situation, the reality today is that many Nigerians do not currently have access to as much power supply as they want. In the Federal Capital Territory, residents react to the current state of power.
The electricity in this area, let me say Nigeria as a whole, the electricity is very, very poor.
I live in Life Camp and we are under Band A, and we have not been experiencing the 20 hours provision that we are supposed to have. So it has been epileptic and really we can't do much. We definitely want government to do something about that to improve the electricity supply, and we will really appreciate that.
It's nothing to write home about. I know in some cities they have a substantial amount of power supply, but if you look at many other places, even in the city here in Abuja, we usually don't have. Sometimes we manage to get light maybe 6 hours a day. Sometimes it doesn't stay, it just come, it goes. And when I was growing up as a baby, and you know, there will be light. So when light goes off and light comes in, you know, we shout, they've brought light, hey, NEPA. Now I'm getting old, I'm coming of age. I don't expect that to still be happening now, especially when you are in Abuja.
It's nothing to really write home about, because I'm surprised that they came up with this banding system where they claim some people will be having power for 20 hours, 16 hours. But as far as I'm concerned, maybe it's just a way of getting some people to pay more. Because for us, in my area, we're in Band B, and we don't even get light for days, and yet you say it's Band B. So for me, I think the interest of the power company is what is being protected.
Based on my experience on how I met the electricity there was very, very bad, really, because they actually don't get light for more than 2 to 3 hours.
My experience outside, I think it's a little bit good, but not like before. As of last year December, we're more like having frequent electricity. I think I can say we had electricity for up to like 15 hours a day last year December, but now it's not as it used to be, though it's just like a minimal decline in the way they give us electricity. But
the residents here at the Federal Capital Territory are calling on the government, particularly the Minister of Power, to hasten the process in restoring power to the darkened area of the city and the country. Edikan Michael reporting for Global TV News.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SARAP, has given a 48-hour deadline to the federal government to withdraw the 0.5% cybersecurity levy imposed on Nigerian people. SARAP made this known in a statement on its official X handle to react to the Central Bank of Nigeria's directives to commercial banks and other financial institutions to start charging cybersecurity levy. The federal government, through the Securities and Exchange Commission, is set to delist the Naira from all peer-to-peer crypto platforms as the government steps up efforts to tackle exchange rate manipulators and dollar racketeers. The development came against the backdrop of the recent move by the federal government to regulate Nigeria's crypto market, estimated at $57 billion. The newly appointed Director General of the Commission, Emomotimi Agama, disclosed this government's latest plan during a meeting with members of the Nigerian blockchain industry. Agama confirmed that the government was currently drafting a new set of regulations to govern the crypto sector. In pursuit of securing a new $750 million loan from the World Bank, the federal government may reintroduce previously suspended telecom tax and other fiscal measures. This is according to the Stakeholder Engagement Plan for Nigeria Accelerating Resource Mobilization Reforms Program between Nigeria and the World Bank. The government might reintroduce the exercises on telecom services and levy on electronic money transfers through the Nigerian banking system, among other taxes. The federal government, through the Corporate Affairs Commission, has issued a 2-month registration deadline to point-of-sales companies to register their agents, merchants, and individuals with the Commission in line with legal requirements and the directives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The agreement was reached during a meeting between fintechs and the Registrar General, CAC, Hussaini Ishaq Magaji, in Abuja. According to Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, there are over 1.9 million point-of-sales terminals deployed by merchants and individuals nationwide. Speaking at the meeting, the CAC boss said the measure aims at safeguarding the businesses of fintech's customers and strengthening the economy. Experts have called on the federal government to implement policies that would encourage, investments in the country's technology system. They stated this at the 3rd edition of the TMT Business Law Breakfast Series 2024, organized by Duale, Ovia, and Alex Adedikpe in Lagos recently. The managing partner of Duale, Ovia, and Alex Adedikpe, Adeniyi Duale, noted that investment policies and trade would determine how well tech thrives in the country. According to Alex Adedikpe, Nigeria's ecosystem is doing a great job in attracting global investment, adding that Nigerian-founded tech companies raised more than $2 billion in 2023. He said Nigeria needed good investments and policies to be able to harness its potential. In sports, the Universal Boxing Organization has conferred the prestigious title of Boxer of the Month for April 2024 upon Nigerian boxing sensation Rashid Idowu, following his remarkable victory in a highly controversial bout in Accra, Ghana. In an official statement addressed to the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control General Secretary Remi Aboderi, UBO Vice President David Meisner lauded Idowu's exceptional performance against his Ghanaian opponent Basti Samir, ultimately resulting in a second-round knockout. Chelsea's bid to secure European football for next season has received a major boost following Manchester United's disastrous 4-0 defeat to Crystal Palace. The Eagles' rampant performance at Selhurst Park extended their unbeaten streak to 5 games and dealt a significant blow to United's Europa League aspirations. The writing was on the wall early for Erik ten Hag's side as Michael Olise broke the deadlock inside the opening quarter of an hour. 2 more Nigerian relay teams, the men's and women's 4x100 meter squads, have secured automatic qualification for the Paris Olympics after making the best use of their second chances at the just concluded World Relays in Nassau, Bahamas. The women's 4x100 meters team, led by Nigeria's 200-meter indoor and outdoor record holder, Favour Ofili, secured their passage to the Paris first. The quarter of Justina Eyakpobean, Ofili, Olayinka Olajide, and Tima Godbless displayed impressive teamwork, storming to victory in a time of 42.71 seconds, booking their spot in the 2024 Olympics. Ofili blazed through the second leg, putting Nigeria in a strong position, with reigning National Sports Festival double sprint champion Tima Godbless anchoring the team home in the first place ahead of Switzerland, who claimed the second automatic ticket in the third qualifying heat. To end the Global News Express, let's take a look at our top stories. Federal government to ban Naira from crypto trading platforms. FCT Police Command deploys 30 motorcycles personnel to rural communities. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited cautions against panic buying. In sport, Chelsea's chances boosted after Man United's horror at Palace. That's it on the News Express, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on our social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.